So Lex and Ree got to ask a question. They asked the hard stuff. My joints is fairly.
What's your birthday?
Not that easy. But okay. So my first question for the both of y'all was, what's y'all main workout song? What's the song that's like every day, every time you get ready to go into the gym, whether it be the lift, run, or whatever the case may be? What's that one track? You know what I'm saying? Whether you drive into the gym or whether you getting into it, what's that one track to get y'all going?
You got it, Dave.
Yeah, you got it.
You got it, bro. You got it. Yours is dope.
All right. You guys are familiar with Busta Rhymes, right? And
all time. That's my favorite all time.
He just dropped that album, Extinction Level Event 2.
Yes, right?
Sir.
Great project.
Oh yeah.
And Cut Czar does it to me every time.
Yo. Nah, that's real. That's real. Czar is. Did you hear the remix with MOP? It's the hardest.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
The remix with MOP is stupid.
Oh my God. And you know, MOP already has that vibe.
That's what I was about to say. Anything MOP got juice to it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Busta's that, I mean, come on, bro. So, like, you know, when that drop, it's just, you can't help it to, you know, like, just get loose. And it just, like I said, you get motivated in that gym, you tear it apart. So, yeah, he's always been, you know, he's always been that hype man. Can you imagine, like, as a fighter, man, coming out to that song? You know what I mean? That's just, it makes you so hype, man. So, yeah, that's my go-to when I'm going to get down.
Maybe if Deontay Wilder came out to that, he would have won that night.
Maybe, right?
Right.
You know, maybe, but yeah.
Took off all that gear.
Yeah.
But that's it. Hey, what you got, Jay?
Yo, so mine can't fuck with this artist can't fuck with Busta Rhymes. Like he's like not even close, right? Not even close. But this song does it. Mine is y'all don't hold this against me now. Mine is Jaden Icon.
Real talk. I was just banging that this morning. That joint.
No, that's a hard record.
I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. It's like
I'm an icon living. That's what he's talking about.
That's all you hear.
That's the only part I understand. But that shit, that puts me in the zone, yo. That puts me in the zone. Yeah.
And not for nothing, Jaden Smith can rap.
Like he can rap. Yeah, he's decent.
Like he ain't my go-to, but Jaden Smith can rap.
Yeah, he's decent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that icon. What you call an icon living? That's just dope.
And that what is that? That little operatic chorus in the back with the whoever decided to loop that was definitely on point for that.
Yo,
who's doing his production? Because they dope.
Him and his crew.
Oh.
But that reminds me, Willow produces as well.
Yeah, she does. That's right. she does like alternative, right? Like,
but she can get into that. She can get to the hip hop bag too. She just doesn't. She can get into that hip hop bag.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my next one is depending on who you ask, is another easy one too. Because again, for myself, I have spurts where I won't even listen to hip hop. I'll listen to everything else but hip hop. So my question to you, gentlemen, is outside of hip hop, what's your favorite genre of music?
I'll take that one. Outside of hip hop, I'll be honest, hip hop isn't even my favorite genre of music anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what my favorite. This is what I listen to. Again, no judgment. I listen to gospel music every day.
Really? Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that either.
Watch the irony. I listen to gospel music every day. Real shit. I gotta take gospel in church. I don't go to church. You know what I mean? It's not all like that for me. For me, it's like just like icon living, right? For me, I like to listen to music that's going to push me in a certain direction,
right?
And it's very intentional for me. You feel me? Yeah. So like I don't listen to like what's the beans, greens, tomatoes lady? I don't listen to
like Shirley Caesar.
Oh, Shirley Caesar.
Caesar. I don't listen to shit like that. I listen to like very contemporary gospel. I listen to some older stuff from Kirk Franklin and shit, but I have like a playlist. That's what I work out to.
Okay.
So you like the more inspirational side.
It's inspiration. That's what it is for me. Gospel is my go-to. And I listen to a lot of rock music, like a lot of like.
No, me too. I got to send you my rock workout playlist. I'll send it to you later on.
Yeah, my favorite group is Breaking Benjamin. That's a dope ass group.
Ew.
You don't? Oh, okay. I thought he said ill. I was like, what?
Nah, ill like hip hop slang. Ill.
So they don't really fuck with rock music, man. And what I tell people who don't really listen to rock music but they like hip hop is for me there's always a hip hop breakdown in every rock song, pretty much. Like a metal song is always that part where it's like
nah. That's why when you said Breaking Benjamin, I was like, I know.
Yeah, you can rap to that part, that little breakdown.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. All right, Dave, what you got?
So yeah, I'm a little different. But yeah, my go-to is reggae. Cultural lyrics, man. Roots reggae, man. Like old school. Yeah. It's just a vibe, right? It's just the way it makes you feel. I guess it's a frequency thing, possibly. But when I have to mow the grass or do something, do normal chores. I mean, that just puts me in a zone, and it just kind of just keeps me, I guess, sane. It just keeps me in a real tranquil mood, man. So yeah, reggae's my go-to, man, for sure.
No, that makes perfect sense because we've talked about this a lot about how like music is therapeutic. So it's not lost on me that you're listening to reggae for tranquility,
right?
And Jay is listening to inspirational music for the same reason. Like, music is very much the mood that I'm in. So it makes perfect sense that you brothers would listen to the music that you do for the reason that you listen to it.
Right.
I can dig that. And just to be fair, I'll go ahead and answer it as well because I listen to a plethora of things. Like, I'll listen to a teardrop hit the ground. I feel like, that's a hot beat. You know what I'm saying? But my other outside of I'm a big fan of the 80s, like 80s alternative, like 80s music is like Huey Lewis in the News. Who else? We got Bananarama.
Let me find out Shizz trying to recreate American Psycho.
Hey, dog, that's like, hey, I'm walking on sunshine, like them like Katrina and the Waves. Like I'm a big 80s fan, you know what I'm saying? So
I'm just trying to imagine a black dude riding in Philly listening to I'm Walking on Sunshine with his hat turned backwards. I love that.
Hey, you can ask my sister.
I love that, bro.
My sister in blood. Ask to tell you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, like here, and that's what I love about like what we do is we listen to all kinds of music. Like it's not just like hip hop, R&B, and like that's it, or not just like modern. Like we listen to everything from like, all over, like so many different generations of music. Like, and that's I think what makes the conversation so good is because we can take it in so many different directions because we're not just stuck in one place.
No, not for nothing. And not for nothing too. Me and my wife, right? We stepped out a weekend ago. We went and sat at the bar, and I heard a song by Nirvana playing, and the bartender he kind of looked at me like, oh, you know who that is? Right. I'm like,
and they be so surprised too. What you know?
But we had a full-on conversation about everything music and didn't name not one hip hop track.
Right.
So I think he was impressed, you know what I'm saying, by I guess my quote unquote music intellect. But I'm like, I listen to and like I said, if it's a beat to it, I'll at least give it a try, hear it out, and see what it's talking about. So yeah, man, I'm a fan of music. Yeah. But definitely dope conversation.
Those are great questions.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the feature premiere.
Yes.
Y'all came here for, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just start off by saying this, right? If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in a race of life. Marcus Garvey.
Wow.
Damn. Powerful quote. And I love that quote actually. And I can understand why these next two gentlemen decide to name their group or their duo after, you know what I'm saying, something that this gentleman Marcus Garvey created. Yes. So with all that being said, you two are our honorary guests, you know what I'm saying? So we can we'll give you the
we traveling with y'all. We riding with y'all.
We can set it off, or we can let y'all set it off. However you want to do it.
Hey, I'm content following suit. I'm content being a guest. I'm enjoying the ride right now.
All right. Here's what we'll do. Shizz, do what you do. Let me start, and then they can pick up right where I go, and then Lex can chime in with the with the
okay. So
like, I already know what she go. No, but you actually love this record, so.
Well, this is
all right. Shizz, do what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I will do what I do and do what I do as well. Okay, so this is what we'll do, right? I always like to start off with a little small question, just a small question, just to get everybody going and all that. Is there any more conscious hip hop now?
Oh, we doing that? Oh, yeah. Wow.
Is there any more? And again, we don't got to deep dive into it, but if you can think of some names real quick. I got one in my head already, but if you got a name, Dave, it look like you got somebody. So who you got, sir?
Right.
So, I mean, and maybe this is a plug, but Common just dropped 2 back-to-backs, The Beautiful Struggle.
Well, let me stop you there. Outside of
are you talking about newer acts?
Well, yeah, because again, it's kind of like when we say, okay, who's your favorite producer? And everybody says Kanye. We know Kanye's a monster. Right. But outside of that, in today's genre of hip hop, you know what I'm saying, is there still conscious hip hop?
I can give you 3. I can give you 3.
You know, and you know what? Go ahead, because I can't. So I'm stuck in my ways. I tend to stick with what I know, and I don't really open up to like new, because it's a whole different, energy, right? So, these kids are into, different things than I am. Having kids myself, just seeing how they operate, I don't know if I could listen to a Joey Badass or Earl Sweatshirt, guys like that.
I got you.
Funny you say that.
Ill lyricist, right? Ill lyricist, but I don't know if I can really, connect, like I can with a Common or Black Thought. But go ahead, man. Go ahead, Ree.
Hold up, Ree. Jay, you ain't got nothing? You got?
Oh yeah, I got something, bro.
So y'all the guest. Go for it.
This is an unshameless plug. We had somebody on our podcast that's a conscious lyricist, Master Skywalker. And he calls himself Skywalker. He is a dope lyricist. So you're not, a conscious lyricist. You're not saying necessarily who are in, like they're super celebrities. You're just saying this conscious rap still.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. All you got to do is just like, go downtown someplace. Yeah, just either dig in your Apple Music or whatever, Spotify, or just like walk downtown on a Saturday night and just like go to the right places. You'll find people who are still trying to do conscious music. But somebody who is fairly famous is this dude that I listen to a lot his name is Bizzle, just like how it sounds, Bizzle, Bizzle. This dude is a monster, right? Dude is a monster, and he considers himself a Christian rapper, right? He actually says he's a Christian rapper. This cat is insane. Insane. Yeah, insane. And it's more conscious, inspirational music to me than it is like gospel and rap. But yeah, gotcha. So I would say that it still exists. I would say it still exists.
Okay. And then, of course, I got to refer to my sisters and brethren. You know what I'm saying? What y'all got?
Lex, do you want to go first or you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go first. Because I was really thinking about that. And I don't know why these names came to mind for me, but they did. So what about Kendrick, J. Cole? Like, do you consider, or would you guys consider them like conscious, and maybe not in the same sort of like backpacker, sort of like realm
let me say
we gotta dig into it because we still want to get to the conversation at hand. But
let me save her because I was going to name Kendrick.
Okay.
Let me save you. Yes, they're conscious rappers. Just because they're popular doesn't mean that they don't make conscious music.
Right.
Now, the tricky part is, do they make conscious music the way Common Sense most definitely believe? And then that's when it gets a little tricky. So when you go into that aspect, I think of the names you've mentioned, Kendrick is probably the more conscious, mainly because of the Section 80, To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City. Yes, he makes anthems, but a lot of his music is very thought-provoking and very in the moment for Black people. And that's not even me being a Kendrick fan. That's just me analyzing the music, right?
Right.
But to be more precise with the question, yes, there still exists conscious hip hop. Joey Badass.
Like you want to, Dave, you want to add something to it?
Well, no, just we're talking about J. Cole. So J. Cole, Kendrick. I was kind of going off the beaten path, like you said, like guys that when you mention those names, I mean, it's synonymous with what's hot right now, who's popping in hip hop. So I didn't want to necessarily go there, but honestly, I see that comparison of those guys with Kanye, right? Kanye had the potential of being a conscious guy, but he always fell back into that commercial, in that commercial sense. So like, I think I see J. Cole doing that quite a bit. J. Cole is one of those guys that really straddles the fence. You know what I mean? He does what's hot. He'll put out a couple of records that that's good for the radio. But then when you listen to a whole album, you like Forest Hill Drive was a classic, right? That's that's undeniable. But there's elements of him trying to be pop and be famous, and then there's him being a lyricist. So I mean, I don't know if when you ask that question, are you talking about body of work, albums,
I guess technically, I'm saying, and just to pinpoint and make it more direct, let's say today's era of hip hop.
So that was going to be my point. There's something to be said about hip hop evolving,
right?
Where Axe can, I can make a pop joint, but that pop joint is going to make 1 million people go listen to this conscious ass album I got. So, you know what I mean? My thing is,
give me an example of an artist that actually pulled that off.
What's his name? Most Def did with Miss Fat Booty. The song is called Miss Fat Booty.
Oh no,
I get it. So
ass so fat, you can see it from the front. Yeah, Black on Both Sides, right?
So he put out a single.
Yeah.
He put out a single to get everybody to
listen.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think real talk, I think at that point though, and again, I wouldn't even include Mos Def because Mos Def, we already know Mos Def, Yasin B as as a conscious dude. But again, we just wanted to get the wheels turning and get everybody, get that little what you call it, take your pre-workout, if you will, to get everybody going. So with all that being said, I'm gonna just go ahead and jump into it, right? So the tracks we're gonna be discussing are Don Randi, he did the theme from the Fox off of the album Love Theme from Romeo and Juliet, produced by Mr. David Axelrod, which was released in 1969. Now, a group called Blackstar, a duo of Yasin B, aka Mos Def, with his New York brethren Talib Kweli, featuring Common, did a track called Respiration off of their album Mos Def and Talib Kweli are Blackstar. This track was produced by DJ Hi-Tek, which was released in 1998.
All right. Look, man, probably three of the best lyricists in hip hop, hands down. Wonderful collabo. What I was intrigued by with Respiration, man, I remember hearing that when I was in school, man. I went to school in Pittsburgh, and Blackstar had actually come down to perform, and I was there to witness that, man. It was amazing.
Wow.
But when you talk about, basically they're talking about their relationship with where they're from, the city that they're from, right? Talib pretty much, Mos Def kind of breaks it down in the beginning. He's kind of talking about the structure, the city, the corporate world, the structure, just looking at the city from a distance, right? And then Talib comes in and he's basically looking at the city from, from a standpoint where the people's relationship with authority, right? And then Common comes in and he gives his account of the city from a distant point of view. You know what I mean? And that was just an ill concept, right? To have Yasin Bey kind of set the story, because he's a poet. Like, he basically, the way he breaks things down. I mean, you could always just visualize it, right?
Hey, Dave, real quick. That hard knuckles on the second hands of working class.
Yo.
What?
I'm there with you, bro. I'm there with you, bro. You know, and like I'm blasting holes in the sky till she breathes sunlight.
Yes.
Come on, man. So,
Yeah.
The way I feel, that's probably my, if all right, so the way I really break down a lot of my top threes and top, whatever tops, is if everything else didn't exist, or you put me on a deserted island and you said, here's 3, tapes that you can play constantly. This is all you have to entertain yourself. That's how I kind of, look at it. And Respiration is one of those jams that I can throw on that list. You know what I mean? Because every time I listen to it, I catch something new. I just, you know what I mean? It's just like, forget the double entendre. These guys are throwing in like triple, quadruple. You know what I mean? Just like with the line you just said, you can break that down for days. Yeah. So for the most part, probably my, like I said, the illest song for me. My favorite song, hands down. I could put that on repeat and be happy and make my hour and a half commute to work and be all right. Man, straight up.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay.
Jay, what you got?
So for me, I mean, I've always liked the song. I don't hold it near and dear like Dave does. I definitely hold the three artists near and dear, right? So for me, I feel like Common had the illest flow on the verse. I just like the way that he came in on it. Overall, though, the way that I vibe with the song and have always vibed with the song is coming from Brooklyn, right? And coming up the way we did, there would be like a. What's the way? Y'all? I'm not sure if y'all believe in like that the moon can affect the way that people behave and things like that. Right? Of course, right?
He's talking to your inner language, right?
We all on the same page, right? So there would be like this mood or this feeling in the city that I would get. I would feel it even as a kid. You know what I'm talking about, D. So like. You could feel, y'all know when you could feel when shit is about to go down. It feels like the city has a life of its own, or like the city actually breathes, and you could feel it inhale. Like sometimes you could step outside and it's just completely quiet, but like there are people outside. You know what I mean? So that's I get an overall feeling from the song. Not necessarily that they are calling me to any kind of action in the lyrics. They're just like Dave said, they're describing what the city is like for them, and
it's relatable. It's relatable.
I feel that, the city definitely breathes. Yeah. That's all I got.
All right.
Which one of y'all?
Go ahead. You got it.
No. Like you kind of fanned out over this. I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, I gotta be honest. Like I wasn't necessarily familiar with the song or that particular album before it was brought up, and I knew I heard it before, but when I like finally sat down to listen to it, because we were talking about it for this episode, I was like, oh my
How did I miss this? How did I miss this? And
I really like tried to just sit and just like really listen to what they were saying, because they say so much. And there's so many like intricacies in their lyrics, and it's easy to kind of like, because it gets so deep at times, it's easy to kind of just be like, like it goes over your head. So it's one of those tracks. It's like, it reminds me of like, maybe like a Chris Nolan film, how you got these layers. You got to keep like going back to it. You got to watch it like multiple times.
Yeah.
Kind of like
hidden meanings behind us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, Tenet, which drives me crazy. But essentially it is kind of one of those songs that has so many layers to it that I think is why it resonates still, because it obviously with the production, with the lyrics, and even with the artists, it capture a moment in time. But I think it is one of those classic hip hop songs that just resonates, like for anybody that's listening to it, for anyone particularly who's coming from the city and listening to it, and having a particular kind of experience. And when we talk about the poetry as well, I think that also can't be understated too, because I think sometimes, especially with the way that hip hop has evolved and everything, we forget that, poetry and the cadence and the way that you're able to like look at things and describe it it's so deep and it's so eloquent. So I also don't want to take that away from them as well. The way that they describe their lives living, as a Black man and, coming from, their respective areas, is so eloquent and poignant and so insightful too. I mean, there's just so many layers that I think that could be drawn from, that particular song. And we're not even talking about the production. I mean, we didn't even hit the production yet.
I was going to get there.
Yeah, so I mean, as we're talking about, we're talking about these artists, and it's incredible to speak about, each artist on their own. But then when you have the production under it supporting them, Hi-Tek did the damn thing on that production. And let me point out, because I know we're gonna touch it, but Pete Rock did the remix with Black Thought. And
hold on. This has gotta be
with Black Thought. Yo, look, yeah, come on, man.
This has gotta be.
Come on, how could you get better than that?
This has gotta be the most conscious episode that we've ever had. Right? When you think about it overall in the spectrum, that's all I got. Jump in there, and eat up these 8 minutes.
All right. So look, I'm gonna be all over the place because I really want Dave and Jay to kind of dive in here. Yeah. One, shout out to Hi-Tek.
Oh yeah.
For Hi-Tek to start with, Talib Kweli and Mos Def, and then to go on, like you said, Reflection Eternal, and then to go on and produce for G Unit and Dr. Dre over at Aftermath.
Range.
Yo,
right.
So Hi-Tek is one of those unsung, underrated, phenomenal producers.
Just listen to Talib. If you listen to Talib, you're gonna hear Hi-Tek.
Yeah. Any Reflection Eternal song, the Down for the Count with Exhibit,
and even digging into his own individual catalog. My favorite is High Technology too.
The High Technology albums are phenomenal.
That music for life track just does it for me. So.
Word.
But yo, go ahead.
No, I was just back.
So let me say this. For any hip hop head, the name Raucous Records should mean a lot to you.
Right.
Backpackers.
Understand who went through Raucous Records. Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Pharoah Monch, the High and Mighty. Eminem was there for a little bit. Royce the 5'9", Black Thought, Nate. Yo, look, all right. Cool G Rap was signed to Raucous for a little bit.
You're giving us a brain overload right now. We want to prepare.
No, because I'm getting you somewhere. Raucous Records was carried because of Blackstar. Mos Def and Talib Kweli wasn't even a group. Mos was working on Black on Both Sides.
Right.
Talib and Hi-Tek was working on Reflection Eternal.
But then they paused their own individual projects.
That's what I'm getting. This album is an accident.
Damn.
Respiration shouldn't even happen. They wasn't a group. And look what happens when you just focus on chemistry instead of ego.
Right.
So
let me say something real quick.
I was gonna say, hold up, but hold on. I'm gonna let you get in. I was gonna just say, when you say chemistry over ego, prime example. Shout out to Dave and Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 1,000%.
Hey, they just mentioned that's what Talib and Mos, bro.
Hey, go ahead. Go for it, Dave. Go, Dave, because you had your thoughts. So I don't want you to go for it.
Hey, so no. Honestly, I don't know if you guys, this is not a shameless plug or anything like that.
Go.
So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Drink Champs at all.
Yeah.
With Nori.
Yeah, Nori.
There was an episode when Nori had Tribe Called Quest on, right? And Tribe Called Quest is by far the illest group that ever did it. I don't care what nobody say, right? You talking about hip hop group, Tribe Called Quest is the illest, right? And so Jerobi was on there, and Nori's is kind of a he's a clown figure, you know what I mean? He's a funny dude, in hip hop, he basically said he's synonymous with Biz Markie. He's basically the new age Biz Markie.
Yeah.
There was an episode where Jerobi was like, he was telling Q-Tip, like, you see why, like, I fuck with this dude, like, you see why, like, you know, like, we're here right now. That's kind of like the feeling that I have right now with you guys, honestly, with your like I said, with that hip hop acumen. I just wanted to pay homage and give y'all props, you know, publicly, and tell you that. I don't know if y'all ever noticed that, but you probably will now. You probably go back and look at that. But it was an ill moment for me where Nori was kind of getting his props from like hip hop legends, you know, for doing what he's doing. So,
and he deserves that.
We want to let people know. We want to let people know how smart we are, right?
Right.
You know, that's what we do inherently, right? But like, okay, I'm gonna just drop this off, figure it out, right? That requires some, you know, that requires patience. That requires some real skill. Like that's just so ill, man. That's just he's like a higher being than me, man. That dude's amazing.
No, and just to piggyback on what you're saying, the opening bars that we're referring to from Colin's verse. On the Amen corner, I stood looking at my former friend, felt the spirit in the wind, knew my friend was going for good. That Amen corner reference is a James Baldwin reference. Hey! Everybody making cameos tonight.
Right.
I got no kids, so I figured I'll let y'all meet the wife.
No, this is right. No, but the common bar that really, of course, the Baldwin reference stood out to me because I've been doing a lot of reading on James Baldwin. But there was a specific line I had as a music buff. Lex, this line should mean something to you. My man said I was mixing down emotions, but I couldn't get it mastered.
Couldn't get it mastered.
Yo,
bro,
what good is the mix if the mastering ain't there?
Right.
Bro.
So I say all that to say, we've saluted 3 of the greatest MCs to ever touch microphones. Right? What I want to do is pay homage to Hi-Tek as one of the most underrated producers to ever touch a drum machine. For him to be able to find that version of the Fox theme by David Axelrod and Don Randi, which was a cover because the original was performed by, and I might butcher this brother's name, I apologize, Mr. Lalo Schifrin. Lalo Schifrin is the composer that created the Mission Impossible theme song. He did the score for Enter the Dragon. He did the score for Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3. And he did the score for Dirty Harry.
I'm gonna join everybody since y'all.
Right. So while I'm talking, y'all get y'all drink on. So while I was doing research on the sample that Hi-Tek so eloquently constructed for this production, I ended up doing a little deep dive on David Axelrod. Do you know that around the time that hip hop started sampling David Axelrod, that's Blackstar, that's Hi-Tek, that's Dr. Dre, they had to chase this brother down to give him his royalty checks because he was living on the streets in a tent.
Oh wow. Wow.
Shizz, you might have this in your notes because you're good for picking up on notes that I've missed. But David Axelrod, and if you don't have it, I'll look it up while you're talking. David Axelrod is a famous producer who, I forget the sister's name, but she was from South Africa. And David Axelrod produced her album. I'll get the name if Shizz doesn't have it. Produced her album in the middle of apartheid. She had to escape South Africa.
Not Miriam Makeba.
No. It's something with an L. I'll find it in a second. I'm just talking right now. Okay. That is a name that I heard while listening to Don Randi talk on a podcast. So David Axelrod and Don Randi, they have monumental work while David Axelrod was signed to Capitol Records. If you've ever seen, there's a clip, and if anybody who hasn't seen it, look for it on YouTube. There's a clip of Don Randi playing him and David Axelrod's version of the Fox. It's poetry in motion. He makes it look so effortless that it's scary, which brings me back to Kweli and what we were saying about Common and how eloquent they are and how intelligent they are. there's something to be said about your talent looking effortless. They make it look certain talent makes things look so easy you think anybody can do it.
Right.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's not until you take a step back and say, "Oh, I can't do that." I've picked up a pen before. I know it's certain MCs I can't touch.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's certain. In the case of Don Randi, he has a autobiography out called "You've Heard These Hands."
Wow.
It's called "You've Heard These Hands" because you've heard him on records that you've heard before and didn't know it was him.
Right.
Don't.
My man.
Hey, that's that, and not to cut you off too. And Jay, I want you to slide in there too because you're being too quiet in there with your wine. But I did
by the way, I'm done. So go ahead. You got it.
Well, in the midst of doing this, right, and that's why I asked you the question earlier. Outside of hip hop, what other genres of music do you listen to? Because in reference to Don Randi, he's done work for so many other individuals and like main
Sinatra, Quincy Jones.
Right. When I saw Frank Sinatra, I was like, oh,
yo, he worked with
he worked
with Frank and Nancy.
Frank, Nancy, he did work with the Beach Boys. You know what I'm saying? Like with the Beach Boys or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? He's done work with a lot of people, and it's kind of like we had the conversation before. You and Lex, we had a conversation when we were talking about movie scores. It's like some of the most famous people in cinema you've never seen,
right?
But you've heard of.
Yeah.
Right.
So just to go ahead and throw that, but I'm checking out Don Randi. I'm a fan of Don Randi.
Yeah,
and anybody and again, Dave, I want to say you brought up Ahmad Jamal, not comparing the two, but to me, anybody that can work on a piano, they're a problem.
Yeah,
they're a problem. But like I said, Jay, I want you to get up in there because you down there, you too quiet down there. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get some of the bars and verses in.
What y'all want me to say?
All right, we did want to give Hi-Tek his flowers. So if you want to touch on just the production of Respiration or Reflection Eternal, because we got to give Hi-Tek his flowers too.
Reflection Eternal. Golly.
You remember?
Go ahead, Jay.
You go ahead. You remember when you first heard that album?
Yeah, she brought up the Blast, right? I remember seeing Karee. I don't know, he was on TV, and then that part when he's like Istra, Detra, pump, like that part when he has a breakdown, and that fucked me up, right? Because I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? Who the hell? Is this guy? Because we're talking about late '90s, right? We and Talib and Mos Def and all those guys didn't have that meteoric rise, right? They didn't have, because they were backpacker, rhymes, right? They were, Washington Square Park type dudes, you know what I mean? Like in the city, West 4, they were rhyming on the street. They were like, real like battle rappers, and so they didn't really have that, I guess, that commercial acclaim. Yeah. So when I seen him on TV, and he was, he hit the blast, like when he was ripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just threw me because I'm like, yo, like, this still a conscious, because, we grew up to the KRS ones. Like name some other, like, Guru from Gangstar. A lot of, those are the kind of guys that I like, that I enjoyed growing up. And even Big Daddy Kane to a certain degree, right? And even though Big Daddy Kane was a commercial, but, like, when it came to lyrics,
you put him in your top 5. Right. You put him in your top 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I heard Talib and you know what I'm saying, it was just like, yo, who the all right, so and then Mos Def, like I said, that just came about, and it just kind of, it reawakened. I was on like, Jay, what were you listening to, like Onyx? Like stupid.
A lot of
like stupid. Like
Mobb Deep, yeah, we listened to a lot of Onyx.
You know what I mean? Like, and then that came through. That was our awakening, right?
It was a breath of fresh air, yeah.
Because it took us back, because like we grew up to Kid and Play and all that stuff, and then NWA dropped, and then that gangster rap stuff came on, and Mobb Deep and Jay-Z and Biggie, like
You know, and what you call it? Who was it? Wu-Tang. When Wu-Tang hit, that's when everybody like.
Right. And then came these backpackers. You know, like your buddy, like Reed, you just mentioned Pharoah Monch. Like that's huge, right? Pharoah Monch is one of the most underrated MCs that ever did it.
Real quick, has anybody heard Pharoah Monch's rock album? Pharoah Monch put out a rock album about, I want to say, I don't know if it was this year or early last year. It's the greatest album I've ever heard. I mean, that's hyperbole, but it's a phenomenal album. I mean, he's rapping, but he's rapping with a black guitarist and a black drummer whose name escaped me.
Wow.
Right. I'll send everybody a link to the album. It's a must hear.
That's dope. Let me tie something together real quick, right? Watch how I do this.
Okay.
So we're talking. We initially started and picked back up at Hi-Tek, right? Because we said we wanted to give him his flowers, and I'm a big fan of Hi-Tek. But if think about what I said earlier too, some of the most famous people in cinema you've never seen, but you heard them, and I almost relate that again to producers, because sometimes you always know the artist, and for the most part, depending on who the producer is, you like, okay, I know that sound, I know that's like Timbaland, I know that's I know that's Swiss beat, I know that like
Swiss beat.
Right, you know that particular sound, but right, if you think about Hi-Tek right now, unless you're a fan of Hi-Tek, you probably wouldn't know him. But if you think about some of the tracks that he's produced for, right? So walk with me real quick, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of 50 Cent and G-Unit, right? That Beg for Mercy album.
You took me. You going right where I wanted you to go. Go ahead.
He produced the Eye for an Eye track. So he produced that Eye for an Eye track, right? Boom. That, to me, that was a banger. And then think about The Game, right? So anybody know the Game's first album, Doctor's Advocate, he produced the track Run It. To me, that was a banger as well. But then also, I want to say it was Dave who said, either Dave or Jay, I think it was Jay though, who said Anderson .Paak, right? Yeah. So you know his track, that.
Don't tell me Hi-Tek produced that. Stop playing.
Definitely did. Off the Malibu album.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's great. Come down. I think it's
Come Down. That's it. That's it. Come Down.
Right. Mom Blown, right?
My daughter's favorite song.
Right.
Are you serious?
Yes. So again, when you tie it together and think about, you know what I'm saying, some of the stuff you got to do. But again, if you're not music nerds, you know what I'm saying, kind of like what we do here, whatever, you're not going to think about and dig into that kind of stuff. But Hi-Tek is a monster on that board.
And I'm glad you said that, because when we were talking, and like I'm gonna chime in, I'm gonna let you chime in. I just wanted to say this: when we were discussing The Alchemist in a recent episode, I remember I said they always said hip hop was a young man's game, but it's not though, because the people with the most talent stick around.
Right.
Hi-Tek popped off in '98. That Come Down Anderson .Paak record is what, 3 years old?
Yeah.
So Lex, you got it from there, but I just want to say, like, talent is always timeless.
Oh yeah. Hip hop is not a young man's game. It's a young art form. It's aging in front of us. Right. And I think it's great that we're talking about him, and that we're kind of going along these lines of talking about Hi-Tek, because especially his musicality, because he comes from a musical background. Like his father was in a band, and I didn't research necessarily too much about, who his father was in that history. But when you grow up, surrounded by musicians, when you grow up in an environment where you're constantly surrounded by live musicianship, then, hopefully, it might rub off on you. And I think that you hear a lot of his musicality, for me, that blows my mind. I didn't even know that he produced Come Down, but when we talk about, we're talking about what he did for like New York, and also what he did for the West Coast. But we got to remember, he came from the Midwest.
He came from Ohio.
Right. So, so we're talking about different parts, because a lot of times when we talk about hip hop, right, we're constantly kind of pitting like East versus West. We might bring the South into it, and we kind of forget like this, you know, this little area, like all in between there. You know,
because now you got me excited. Because Hi-Tek is responsible for a resurgence in backpack New Yorker hip hop. You know who's responsible for the New York sound? Premier. Premier's from Texas.
Oh wow.
Premier is from Texas, yo. Real
So,
talk, like, yo, man, that's big, dude.
No,
that's
big. So I'm gonna get this back to Lex, but Dave, to your point, it's big because the coast don't have a sound. Black people have a sound.
Right.
What? Hey man, that you know, it's funny, man. It's almost like wow, man, that's huge. That's fucking huge.
I'm done. Like you got it, but I'm done.
Well, I'll just say just real quick. You know, I think it's important to remember that, you know, and just as you said, Ray, like it's coming from us. You know, it's an internal thing that we have that we just inject into the space and we inject into the culture, and it just comes out and it just like changes everything. So, you know, for me to hear like, okay, you got somebody from Texas that's changing the landscape of New York hip hop, or you got somebody from like the Midwest that's changing, you know, West Coast hip hop, or, you know, putting those influences there. Because we're also talking about funk, you know, and one thing that is really big, I mean, I'll say from not just live musicianship, you know, in terms of like what Anderson .Paak does, but like it's like a funk resurgence, you know, and obviously, you know, with Dr. Dre doing what he did, you know, with kind of integrating, you know, P-Funk and so many of those funk era bands into like his music. But then you got this new generation of people who still are taking it in very different ways, but we're still talking about like funk and soul music. And that's pretty much like what it is.
So let me say this real quick, right? And this is in reference to Dave and Jay. I'm gonna put y'all on the spot real quick. So what I noticed, right? And it's funny because, again, like I said, I've binged y'all episodes and all of that and enjoy everything that y'all do. It's funny now seeing the difference in like language and conversation and talk, because normally if you watch it, Jay is the one that's always, you
peep that, right?
Facts, questions, doing this and doing that. And Dave is like, all right, yo, we're going to go on the next. Hey, Dave, what's the next workout? All right, we're going to do this. Make sure, you know what I'm saying? We're going to make sure you pull up. We're going to come down 90-degree angle, and then that's it. And Jay is normally the one spitting all the bars, but now it's kind of reversed.
I told you.
We got Dave engaged now. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to put y'all on the spot and point that out.
I told you, I was like, Dave trying to be, I said he trying to be humble, but this is his shit right here.
And I definitely want to hear what, you know, I want to hear what you guys have to say. I know, Dave, you were kind of like, I saw you getting excited. I'm like, okay.
No. You know what? Let them take it from
here. That's why I'm shutting up. I'm done. I'm shutting up.
However y'all want to fan out. Go ahead. Y'all got it. The floor is yours.
No, all right. So real talk. We still got to talk about. So as far as the next movement is concerned, he said you can't cut the tap. You gotta get wet. I ain't saying shit. You know what I'm saying? What he said? No, he said your head is bobbing, and I ain't.